Right, good day, everybody, and welcome back to SA Hockey Legends live chats. Very excited today. It's Easter Monday. Yes, we're still in lockdown, but it's an amazing opportunity because today I'm going to be chatting to the amazing Marsha Cox, or for those of you who remember her by her maiden name, Marsha Marescia. So lovely to have Marshy join us today. And let me see if I can just join her. Hello, everyone that's joining us, tuning in. Marshy!
Hey! How's it going?
Amazing to see you.
Yeah.
Jeez, it's been an age.
Yeah, it has been. How are you?
Yeah, I'm amazing, thank you. We're well here in South Africa. We're entering our third week of lockdown. But you know, we're keeping spirits up, and we're using this time to connect with old friends like you, Marshy. So what an amazing opportunity.
This is such a great idea. Thanks for having me.
Cool,
I'm
man.
a little nervous and quite excited at the same time.
Are you nervous, Marshy? Good.
Yeah.
That's good. You need to, you know, it's like a test match. You got to channel that nervous energy into your performance. I'm also bringing out the big guns. Look what I've got on today. Can you see?
Woohoo! That's brilliant. I can't believe you still have it.
I still have it, and I still have a bag full of other interesting things. So my plan is to kind of like slowly do the old school wardrobe reveal, you know.
Okay.
Just so we can remember our awesome quality kit from back in the days, you know.
Yes. Yes.
Cool, Marshy.
I should get mine. It's upstairs.
Well, as long as you got headgear for the quiz, then you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Amazing. So tell us, what are you up to these days, Marshy? You're in Holland, with your family and your husband. Yeah. So tell us where you are now, because I haven't seen you literally in 15 years, I reckon.
Yeah, 15 years probably. That's correct. So yeah, we're based in Amstelveen, which is quite, for like those who want to have a sort of idea, it's close to all the major hockey clubs like Amsterdam and Hurley and Pinoquet. And yeah, just living in isolation and getting on with life, I think.
And how is the lockdown in the Netherlands at the moment? I believe it's quite deserted.
Yeah, it is, but like it's quite relaxed at the same time. So we're not in complete lockdown. So we're just in isolation and practicing social distancing. So even my daughter, who's 4, when she's playing with her animals downstairs, she says that they need to keep their distance from each other. So, so at least the kids understand it. But yeah, we're allowed to go for walks and runs and stuff. So to be honest, I think it's quite a blessing after seeing and hearing how challenging and difficult it is to be confined to your own house 24/7. I don't think people are going to go on holiday when this is over. If anything, people will go on holiday with their friends and not with you.
For sure. So Marshy, well, thanks so much for being on this little platform that we started. You're our third guest. So we had Twashi and we had Clarky, and now you. So you know you're like royalty, hockey royalty. So it's so wonderful to have you. And I just wanted to do a little introduction for those folks who don't know you, or I'm sure everyone knows you by like Marshy, the captain, the warrior up front. But you know, Marshy, the person. I remember I was lucky enough to go to varsity with you. It was UND back then before it changed to UKZN.
Yeah.
And that's where I first met you. And yeah, I have such fond memories of that club, our varsity hockey club, and of that time, because it was kind of like just before hockey got really, really serious. And obviously, we still had a huge amount of fun. And I remember just in the build up to this little interview, Marshy obviously put out a few lines, you know, to a few people who sent me some stories, things that I've forgotten that made me chuckle. Like Marsha, the dedicated lemon squasher for the yakka party.
The yakka parties. Those are the best.
stomping on kilograms and kilograms of lemon to make sure we perfected the yakka recipe.
Yeah.
But you know, obviously since then, and we'll go back to the very beginning, but just by way of introduction, obviously Marsha, from then you played for the Raiders ladies, you played for the national team, you went to 3 Olympic Games, 2 World Cups, 4 Commonwealth Games. You were included in the FIH like dream team 3 times, which you know is amazing, and you played 330 caps for South Africa. So
yeah,
it's an unbelievable career, Marsha, and you're an absolute legend. And we're so very proud of you. So today, this is like the behind the scenes. This is like
okay, I'm nervous.
Getting to tell all the stories, Marsha. No, it'll be great. It'll be great fun. So we're going to chat for like about 10-15 minutes. Then we're going to play up your game, the quiz. We put the headgear on. Very serious quiz, Marsha. Okay. And then we'll just kind of wrap it up there. I'm not so good at the Instagram thing, like with checking everybody asking the questions and that kind of thing. But if I see one and I remember, I'll try and ask you.
Okay.
But let's throw it all the way back, Marsha. Take us back to the beginning. Durban North girl. You went to Northlands Girls High School.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about like the early influences on your hockey. I know your mom was an outstanding hockey player.
Yes.
But talk us through the early days playing, you know, as a young girl in mini hockey and that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I think when I first started, it was a completely different time in South Africa. So like primary school was very different time for our generation. So going to high school, when I first went to Northlands, I remembered like the year before I played like Natal under 13 hockey, which was quite different and unique because I think at that stage it was the first sort of like IPTs with total integration. So in '96, when I went to high school, now I'm giving away my age, yeah, it was kind of overwhelming because I was suddenly exposed to a different schooling environment that I wasn't like quite used to. So when it came to hockey, I was really nervous. I remember being extremely nervous, and Tracy Perry was our coach back then, and I think that she was really influential in my hockey career because, yeah, I knew that I had played from the time I could walk, but you know, like never knowing how it would be in this totally new environment and like a different time in South Africa. It was kind of, yeah, it was just overwhelming. So having somebody that, like, I just went to trials. I didn't have any expectation of making a school team, you know, whereas like the other girls had this expectation because that, like, they came from the feeder schools and that was sort of like the expectation, you know, it goes in the school system. And I was kind of like, well, I don't understand any of this. I'm just going to play and see what happens. And and Tracy, I remember Tracy Perry telling me, you're gonna go far one day. You'll be okay. And I was like, okay, that's quite nice. And it was a nice compliment. And you know, I really loved the game. So it was really like, I think at a young age, having somebody like that who had the confidence and faith in you, and also somebody who was extremely honest. She would tell us exactly that if we played worse than her grandmother on a day. So it wasn't, you know, it was coming from somebody with a lot of experience and sincerity. So I think that like, if anything, somebody like Tracy Perry as one of my first high school coaches was really influential. And yeah, it was weird because I was thinking about it as well. Like I was chatting to Candy Forward earlier, and I was thinking about like the Natal days back in the day. And I think that we were really fortunate in our generation because we had a really good balance of like school coaches like Belle Meek and Michelle McNaughton and people who were like really, they really understood and like appreciated the importance of the basics. And then we had the start of the Natal Academy with Blokkies and Giles, and a lot of then like the younger national players who then would teach us all these, and Beefy, and like teach us all these exciting new skills.
Yeah.
That, you know, like I remember doing the bunt against the one of the like sponsor boards at Queensmead, and you just hear this like thud the whole time. I think people would just get a headache from it. But yeah, it was really fun, and it was a good balance. And as you say, like back then hockey was also a bit different, so it was a really good balance of like competitive play, because I think we were extremely competitive. Like nobody liked losing. Sometimes we used to even like in the mini games cheat or
there was consequences to losing those 3-on-3s at
yes. Nobody wanted to lose, but at the same time we had so much fun, and off the field was just was also just so much fun. And like going to university and UND and all the SAUs, that's what we called it back then.
Yeah, absolutely. They still refer to SAUs in our generation, Marsha, that's for sure. But I just want to ask something. So when I was asking a few people, you know, a couple of background stories, did you debut for Crusaders under Craig Carolyn when you were about 14? Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to check that fact, because we'll loop back to that a little bit later. But that must also, like, Craig was huge in Natal hockey as the young influence. But then, Marsha, what point did you know, like, that you were good and you were going to go pretty far? Because when you get picked for a Premier League team when you're 14, and I think you debuted for South Africa when you were still at school. You were 18, weren't you?
I was first year out, but I was 18. Yeah.
When did you kind of have an idea, like, flip, I'm going to go all the way here?
I think when I went to, like, I was 16 and I played at my first under-21 IPT, and Kans and I were also sharing this story of how we loved that tournament. And I was really young, and Natal, we ended up winning 5-0 in the final against Southern, so it was quite like a memorable experience. But I think that was probably a year that like the dream started becoming a little bit more of a reality for me. So the age of 16, because then I got selected for the SA Under-21s.
That's right. You made the SA Under-21 squad then, which I mean, that's phenomenal as a 16-year-old.
Yeah, it was really special. And
did you get into crowded house, Marsha? Did they let you in?
I think so. Yes, I did.
Good.
I think Mars was our coach, and I think that she pulled some strings to get me in. I think she explained to them that she's underage, but just let her in. You know, it's the last night of IVT.
Really a good time.
I think in Marescia they were used to underage.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were.
Yeah. So but it was fun. It was fun, and also like I was young, but I was surrounded by older hockey players constantly. So it also helped sort of make that dream become a reality, because I was sort of like on a journey with girls that were 2 or 3 years older than I was, but we were sort of in the same phase, you know. Like I was in a different phase of my life individually, but in terms of like hockey, we were experiencing a lot of the same stuff, and it made it a lot easier.
And then Marsha, I want to talk a little bit about those personalities, because there really are some absolute gems in that mix. I know when we were at varsity, Kari Sherritt was a huge influence on all of us, just not only as an administrator, but just also as a leader. And she used to play league in the teams and really get stuck in. And obviously you mentioned Candy Ford and Jen Wilson as well, who was part of that Pump House crew back in the day.
And Jules Henry and
Karen Bentley, or now Karen Springate, Kerry B, just some amazing girls.
Yeah.
And what an era.
Yeah, unbelievable. I sometimes think that like we sort of like underappreciate the people, and just I don't know, I just learned so much in so many different ways, not just hockey, like life skills from everybody. It was yeah, just a different time and amazing people. So yeah.
And what are some of your best memories from varsity, Marshi?
Oh,
On the field, like mainly on the field, because that was
on the
a
field.
really good side as well.
Yeah. Well, like it was really weird because we had a really good team, but I think for about 2 years we struggled to, because we were always in the B section, and we struggled to get into the A section. So we would play the final and lose to like UCT or something like this. But I think, wow, like for like SAUs, I think most of my memories and most of like the best moments don't really come from on the field, to be honest. I think it comes from just like the holistic view of knowing that like every day we went out and we played competitive hockey, but then we partied hard, like and responsibly, I think, because the next day we could come out and play again.
To varying degrees, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think that it was probably one of the like really amazing moments in my hockey career, was being able to be a student and experience, because also like at that point I'd been in the national team. And we had these like rigorous training programs, and for 1 week a year we were allowed to be students. For the rest of the year we weren't. We had to be national players, and I think that that's also what made it really special.
Did you ever, Marshi, gym in that gym underneath Sports Youth?
Yes.
I remember
with all the old equipment.
Yeah, it was like a prison gym. And
yes,
I remember the groundskeepers at varsity used to go and gym in that thing. And and I remember because I only went to one SAU, and it was the one that you went on as well. But I remember as well at the time, like if you were in the national setup, you were in the under-21 setup. We missed out on a couple of senior IPTs because we were playing in the under-21s at IPT. And we also missed out, unfortunately, on a couple of SAUs because we were also on I think we went to Spain, and you girls also toured around about the same time. So we missed a couple of things. But as you say, like while we were at varsity, you still like had to train and you had to go to lectures. But I remember going to that gym in Sports Union, and like the groundsman would lift these like massive weights, and it was like
in their jeans,
metal turnstiles in their jeans with no shirts on. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was. It was.
But we did. I mean, we trained. We did the gym. I remember even between lectures going down to V4 in front of Stickstop and like running in February heat to like stay on the program. You know, you like had these milestones.
Yeah, it was crazy. But I think one of my best SAUs was the one that was it was a B section, was in East London, and we needed to leave, but of course we wanted to party as well on that last night.
You're still in Buccaneers.
Yes. And Jaronki, I don't know if you remember Jaronks. He thought after having a crate of beers, he thought that he could drive the bus.
That's right. Yeah.
I think it was like after a crate of beers and a broken ankle, he decided to drive the bus. That was
I wanted to show you something. I wasn't going to pull this out till later, but have a look at this.
No ways. Oh my God.
Look at this photograph.
There he is.
That's Brett Hoskin, and that's Jaronki in the middle there.
Yes.
And you and Arlene. How's that for a blast from the past?
No. That was brilliant. What a time.
Yeah, that was really fun.
And I can't remember was that one of the guys got seriously injured from bush diving. Yeah, there was a massive hole in his leg.
It was the Maritzburg guys, I think, but I also remember that was the SAU when Shmi fell through the roof of the hotel.
Yes, on day one.
Which wasn't ideal. Not ideal at all.
No.
And I remember Puni and Kari had organized Soma Singh to come and coach us that season. And I think Soma came to like the first couple of games and he coached us seriously, but I think after that incidents and I don't think he even pitched to the field. He was just like, I'm going to meet them back in Durban and carry on coaching them when they're ready to be coached.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Yeah, but I think that definitely goes down as one of the most memorable SAUs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sure, that was crazy. And Marsha, I mean, yeah. So at that time, we were trying to also study and get degrees.
Yes.
What did you end up getting?
So I didn't in the end, because then in 2004 I took a sabbatical to focus on the Olympics, because at that point all the Natal girls in the squad had moved, so I was kind of alone, and I'd been training in 2003. I'd been training with the boys, so
yes.
BC, so Brendan Carolyn, he was the coach of the second team at that point, and he allowed me to train with the men. But I was just missing out on so much with the like national program, because training on your own when everybody is sort of like in their clusters in Western Province and in Pretoria and in Johannesburg. So 2004 I took sabbatical and I moved to Johannesburg to just focus on hockey and trying to make the Athens team. So then I was like just full-time student, and some of the girls used to laugh at me because most of the time I used to just watch MTV. So while they were still getting their degrees, I was getting an MTV degree. So
and I remember that time. It was. Do you remember that that All Africa Games where we went to Abuja?
In Abuja,
to qualify?
Yes, life-changing, life-changing.
Crazy was that?
That
I don't know
is...
if your apartment was okay, but ours had a gigantic hole in the bathroom that looked out the second floor.
All the rooms had gigantic holes when we arrived in our apartment. So all of them, and the air conditioners were on the floor. So we had to put it in ourselves to close the hole. And then I just remember, like, we all got allocated our rooms in the house, and I think I just put my suitcase down, and we heard like this like frantic screaming, like, get outside, get outside. So like we rush outside, and it was like, there's furniture around the corner, run. And everybody like started running to this truck that had offloaded a whole lot of tables and chairs and stuff for the houses, and then it was just like free for all, grab what you could. I think somebody got injured from from carrying a table that was way too heavy.
Because they were still trying to finish off they were trying to finish off everything. And I remember that our apartments as well had just had nothing in it, and Rev sent us out for the first 2 days. We didn't even really go to training. We just went and we stole plants from like the dining room to try and make it a little bit more homely. And it was. But
that was a life-changing tournament. Like I remember, I think it was like 40 degrees, and we'd walk all the way for like 20 minutes to the dining hall to find out that they've closed it because they were striking. And then we had no food for the whole day, so we had to eat Twinkies because that was the only thing that somebody had. And then the next day we had to play like the semi-finals. Yeah,
it was really tough. It was really tough having no food. I remember we used to talking about like being on lockdown and stockpiling stuff. Like we strategically stockpiled fresh water from the canteen just to make sure like we had enough, because you just didn't know. Like it was just crazy.
And if they brought Coca-Cola out, it was also like heaven.
and then those expats, I think they were the MTN guys, invited us to their compound.
Hotel.
And it was like the first time we had eaten real food in like 2 weeks. It was amazing.
Unbelievable.
At least
and then we went straight from there to India. Do you remember? We flew straight from Abuja to India.
You guys didn't. We lost. So we went back home.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So we have to then re-qualify for the Olympics, but you guys won. You guys won your gold because you played the match before us.
Yeah.
And you were all celebrating, and you had your gold medals, and that was the Olympic qualifier. So you guys were already secured for Athens, which also meant that you guys had funding for the next like however long it was. I think like a year or half a year, whatever it was, which was amazing for you girls. And we still then were like, oh, geez, we didn't do it. We went back to Madrid to qualify again, which was really tough.
Yeah.
But such is the journey, eh?
Yeah, it is. It is.
And Marsha, I just want to talk a little bit about your like the coaches. Did you play under 3 or 4 national coaches?
3. So Ros Howell, Jen King, and Giles.
Okay. Yeah. And tell us a little bit about that. Give us some insights into their different kind of styles.
Well, when Roz was the coach, I was 18. So I found that like having somebody like Roz with a little bit more like sort of, yeah, like structure in a different way was probably, excuse me, was probably the best for me at that time, because it was also like you just out of school, so having something that was like close to a school sort of structure where you had like these strict rules and you know, like somebody keeping you in line all the time, that was quite good. But yeah, and then Jen, she was really different to Roz. Like to be honest with you, it was really tough for me. While Jen was the coach, it was a really tough period in my career, for a number of reasons. But I think if there's anything that's positive that came out of it, was that like growing up as a player of color, you learn to have like this fighting spirit, because the last thing that you wanted to do was have people say that you were selected because of the color of your skin. So you had a different type of mentality every time you played. But having Jen as the coach sort of reiterated that mentality for me, where, you know, I just wanted to prove myself and make sure that I was good enough that she wouldn't be able to not select me. But it was really tough, I won't lie. I don't think every player can always have like amazing coaches. I think you're always going to have one coach or a few that you really struggle with. But yeah, I really enjoyed Giles as a coach. I think that he was different, and he came at a time when we probably were ready for it. Sometimes I wonder if it would have been different, like if we had our Athens team, for example, if you look at like the players, the quality of players that we had and the strengths that we had, if we had like I would like to know like how much Kerry B would have enjoyed somebody like a Giles, who, you know, loved the invention of new skills and loved like the flair, and you know, like it would have been interesting to see what those personalities and those players with that sort of style of play, how they would have coped in Giles' generation. But I really enjoyed Giles as a coach.
Yeah, amazing. And who was the captain when you joined, Marsha? Was it
Lindsay?
Was it Corin Roberts?
No, so Corey had already retired when I joined. So Lindsay was the captain, and then Susan captained, and then Lindsay became the captain again, and then I became the captain.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And at that time, as a young player, Marsha, and going on tour, and obviously, you know, I think in the build up to kind of Athens, who were the international players that you played against and you marked, that you really admired and looked up to, and you were like, flip, when I'm at the top of my game, I want to be like this girl.
There was a Dutch player, Marsha van der Vaart, that I remember watching the 2002 World Cup final, because I was at that one too. At that one as well. And I remember the final was between the Netherlands and Argentina, and I just remember in the midfield it was like sort of like Amar getting the ball and she like just scribbling through everybody, and then Marsha would get the ball and then she would just scribble through everybody. So it was sort of like 1-1. But I really enjoyed the way she played, and it's quite funny because I started playing hockey again and would play in the like over 30s league here in Holland, and I played against her like a couple of months ago, and it was really like funny to just like see somebody that you totally idolized as a young player, and to have the opportunity to play against them again. But yeah, she was definitely one that I thought like, oh wow, I want to be able to also just like scribble through everybody in the midfield. And then of course, you know, Amar is just like a legend that I think anybody would put her on their list of players that you would aspire to be like.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Marsha, it's half time, so I think what we're going to do is put our headgear on.
Okay.
And have the quiz.
Okay, I'm nervous.
Are you ready?
Yes.
It's very good. I'm
Sure.
going to put my Quizmaster's glasses on.
Okay.
There we go.
Good job.
And this is
How's your
this is
eyesight?
the official score sheet from Clarky and Tosh's quiz. As you can
Okay.
see. It's very professional, this quiz, Marshy.
Okay. Okay. I'm nervous now.
Yeah, you better be nervous.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah. I hate losing. So yes.
Okay. So these are the questions. The first question comes from Jodex Beaumont.
Oh my God.
Deep in Sydenham. And this is his question.
Yes.
Jodex says, when you made your debut for Crusaders,
Yes.
and Craig was the coach, that's why I had to check with you to clarify.
Okay.
I want to make sure Jodex isn't making stuff up here, you know?
No. Yeah.
Never trust Daxie never let the truth get in the way of a good story with Daxie, you know? So, and he said that Craig had a very tough selection on the very first weekend because he had to drop a player. Do you know who the player was? Can you name the player?
Oh, I can't remember. I was 14.
It's for 10,000 points, Marshy. Don't cock it up.
I can't remember. I'm sorry. I can't remember.
Okay.
Who was it?
So, again, remember, this quiz is based on very loose information from your
from
hockey
Jodex
around 100%. So Jodex says that Craig had to drop your mom for you on your debut.
Oh, yeah. Yes, that's true.
Which I thought was hysterical.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, amazing. Marshy, you're on 0 points.
Okay.
Moving into question 2, but that's okay. You only have to beat, Clarky got 80,000 points and Twashi got 75,000 points. So there's plenty of time, don't worry. Okay. All right, this next one comes from
50,000 points.
Yeah. Sorry, and I added 2 bonus questions for you. It's fine.
Okay, awesome.
So this one comes from Nat Fulton, and it's a lovely story. So I'm going to just read a little bit about what she sent to me, and then I'll ask you the question at the end.
Okay.
There's this is what Nat says. She says, chasing Marshy as a provincial opposition player was a pain in the ass. She never stopped running, but she's an absolute pleasure to have as a teammate in the national team because you knew if you missed a tackle that Marshy would definitely be the player doing the legwork and recover possession. Marshy had absolutely the best laugh and was an absolute treat at fines meetings, besides the fact that you were a real lightweight drinker.
Yes, true.
So, here's the question from Nat. She says, at the Athens Olympics in your pool, you guys had just lost to the Dutch.
Yes.
But then in your next match, you went on to win a very significant game. Who did you beat and why
Germany.
was it significant?
Germany, because they went on to win gold and we were the only team to beat them. Yes!
Well done, Marshy. 10,000 points for you. You're off the mark. You're out the gates and flying along.
Yeah.
Very good, Marshy. Okay. Tough question. Real serious hockey question now.
Okay.
You may get some. In 2007, 2009, and 2010, you were named in the FIH World 11. Okay.
Yes.
In 2010, can you tell me who the other girls were that were the midfielders in that dream team? And you get 2,000 points for every one you get right.
Okay. Amar.
Correct.
Okay. I have to think of that World Cup. Who was at the World Cup as well? Ellen Hoog. Naomi van As. No?
Pressure, Marshy. Come on. Okay, I'll give you a clue. 3 Aussies and one English lady.
Madonna Blythe.
Yes. 2,000 points.
Yes. And I can't.
Come on, the English one.
The English one. Okay. Okay, I'm thinking of the English ones because but all the names I think of were defenders. This is tough.
TikTok, Marshy. TikTok. Come on.
The Australian, the blonde. It was a blonde chick. They played in the midfield. Not Kate. Kate Hollywood. No.
Kayla. Charlotte.
Oh yeah, but she's from New Zealand.
Sorry,
Kayla.
New Zealand.
Yeah.
That's
Kayla
Charlotte. Yeah. So that was one. So you got Amar, you got Blythe.
Yeah.
Charlotte was the other one, and there's 2 more.
2 more.
You give
one.
Up?
Yeah, I give up. I can't remember.
Casey Eastham.
Yes. See, blonde Australian.
And, yeah. And from England, Helen Richardson.
Richardson. Ah, of
Yeah.
course. Yeah.
So that's okay, Marsha. You pick up 4,000 points. Not too
Thank
bad.
you.
Not too bad. That was the hardest question. That was definitely the hardest
It
question.
was really, gee, it was testing me.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. This is a significant question culturally. But I think you'll definitely get this one and 10,000 points. Okay. So, your mom,
20,000
Marion,
points. Yes. Yeah.
is considered by many one of the greatest players who missed out on playing for South Africa during isolation. And I know that she had a massive influence on you and a lot of other young girls growing up playing hockey. For 10,000 points, though, can you tell me who was the first player of color to play for South Africa?
Jill Daniels.
Jill
Montague. Yeah.
Absolutely.
She was Jill Daniels before she got married. Yes. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay,
she was my idol. I loved her.
You're on 24,000 points. Why did you know her well? Did you?
Yeah. She was amazing. Like, her story is just phenomenal because like the time that she played and the things that would happen, you know, like going on tour in South Africa and with the national team and then having a different toilet, you know, like they wouldn't let her, and then like the team like protesting saying like no, she has to be in the change room with us. So yeah, sure. Shows you how powerful sport is though.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a multimedia one, Marshy.
Yes.
So I hope I can do this without
okay.
I'm going to play you a video and you have to tell me who you played against in this game. Are you ready?
Okay.
Flip camera. Here it comes, Marshy.
Yeah.
Don't look at the top of the screen. It's cheating.
Oh yeah, against USA. Yeah, no score. I didn't score very often, so I remember the times I did. It was against USA at the World Cup in 2014.
Absolutely right, Marshy. 10,000 points.
Oh, I thought that was like for 20,000. Okay.
That was a good goal, Marshy. That was quite far past the far post. Eh?
Yeah, it was good teamwork. I don't know where I came from, but it was.
Well, I think what Nats was saying about being able to run stuff down, you started that lead from basically the halfway mark to get to the far post there.
So I desperate you are to score.
Well done. Okay.
Mm-hmm. How many points do I have?
You got 34,000 points, Marsha.
Okay.
You're doing very well. You're catching the guys, which is awesome. Okay. This one. You, in your current capacity as an Olympian, are also the co-chair of the FIH Athletes Commission.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
You were?
Yeah.
Okay. So now, Marshy, with the Olympics being postponed, can you tell me the new dates of the Olympics for next year?
23rd of July, 2021. Yes!
What a machine. What a machine.
Whoop! Come on.
You're killing it, Marshy. You're killing it. Okay. I was going to ask you to name the SAU where Shmi fell through the roof and then show you the photo, but I got excited. I did that already. So I can't ask you that question. But I've got another question for you. This is a hard one, Marshy. This one's going to hurt a little bit. Sorry. 2008 Summer Olympics.
Yes. Beijing.
What a tough pool.
Yeah.
It didn't go so well. 6-0 down against Holland.
Yes.
The next game, China, 3-0 down.
Yeah.
The next game, Australia, 3-0 down.
Yeah.
The next game, Spain, 1-0 down. I mean, that's tough. 4 games, haven't managed to score a goal. But against South Korea, you lost 5-2, but you did score twice. Yes. Can you tell me who scored the goal?
Jen Wilson. And Kate.
Yes. Kate Hector.
Yes.
Yeah. Kate scored, but not Jen Wilson. So you only get 5,000 points, Marshy. The other goal was scored by Vida Ryan.
Ah, yes. A 9-yard.
Yeah. There you go. Okay. Ooh. This is getting close. 2 questions left and maybe 1 bonus question, Marsha. We'll see how well you do. Okay. This is
20,000 points.
This is a fun one. This is a fun one.
Okay.
I asked Kari for a question. And
Okay.
This is Kari's question. She says, at first she sent me a beautiful text, and she was just saying how amazing you were, always in her office at varsity, always helping, always the first to put up your hand, to coach and give back, and all those really, really wonderful things. So I'll send that one to you. But I really touched to read Kari's message. But her question for you, Les Galloway had a little pig that was the Raiders mascot. Can you remember the pig's name?
No, I don't. I can picture the pig, but I can't remember its name.
The pig's name, Marsha, was Gessie.
Oh, yeah. Such an English name for Durbanites.
Yeah.
I know, Cans. I'm letting you down here with this question.
Okay, Marsha, you're on 49,000 points. You're doing great. You can still catch up. Okay, 2 questions left.
Yeah.
The 2008 Olympics, at the after party, you managed to end up in the Jamaican house for the after, not the Jamaican house, in the house.
The human body, yes.
Which famous Jamaican did you DJ with?
Usain Bolt.
How crazy was that?
I know. That was crazy.
Tell us that story.
Yeah, I went to the Jamaican house the next day, and he was just like sitting, I think he was expecting like calls, interviews or something like this. And then and I only had my like SA pants, tracksuit pants that we needed to travel in. Like that's what I was wearing. I had nothing, I had no phone, nothing. And then I was kind of like, well, can I please get your autograph? I felt really like sheepish, like asking him for his autograph. And I had nothing for him to sign except my pants. So I had to fly home with my pants with the same Bolt signature on both legs.
That is amazing. Okay. Marsha, I've got one more question for you. And this is my question. It's a personal one. And and I hope that you remember. But it doesn't matter if you don't. There were 3 things that, okay, no, wait, I'll say this. I'll tell you that afterwards because it might give it away or if you're struggling. But, okay, in Abuja in Nigeria, we played a game and you girls came to watch us. It was against Zimbabwe. Yes. And Clarky used to push out for us, but when he was off, I used to push out. Yeah. So I went and I pushed out the penalty corner, got the rebound, and I tapped it in. It was my first international goal. I want you to do the celebration, if you can remember it.
I can't. Oh my God.
That's okay. That's okay. Okay, so here's your clue.
Yes, it has something to do with like, no, yeah.
Here's the clue. You and I have 3 things in common. We went to the same university.
Yes.
We had the same sponsor, which was Kookaburra, for our whole career. And a huge shout out to Chris Bryant at Kookaburra.
You kissed your stick.
No, close. No. And the 3rd thing that we had in common was that we both played in the same number.
8. Yes, I remember.
Do you remember?
Yes. You did the 8s like this with your stick. Yes, I remember.
10,000 points, Marsha.
Yay!
So that takes you to 69,000 points. 1 point. 1 point shy of Marsha.
Ah,
man. You were an amazing sport. Well played.
Thanks.
Well played.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Who used to kiss their stick?
Who used to kiss their stick? Sevens used to do the bow and arrow thing.
Yeah. And then there was one of the guys used to kiss their stick.
I can't remember who that was. It was, us guys who didn't score a lot. We got super excited about it.
Oh, yeah.
Yuki and Washi and those guys, they scored all the time. So they didn't mind too much.
No.
So, well done there, Marsha.
Clarky used to kiss his stick.
Could have been Clarky, absolutely.
Yeah.
Although Clarky, when I was interviewing him again, he was pretty horrendous in front of goals, to be honest. Luckily, he hit that one in against Belgium, which we reminisced against. So, Marsha, we got about 15 minutes or so, or 10 minutes, because Instagram cuts us off at the hour mark. But just tell us tell us a little bit now where you're at, what are you doing,
Okay.
and most importantly, when you're going to come back and have a few cold beers with us.
Yes. So where I'm at is in Holland, as you know. What I'm doing is working. And then with hockey, I do have a project in South Africa, so you will be seeing me soon. But it's a project that I started with my old school and then with Riverside Hockey Club as a partner, and it's been absolutely fantastic. We're like 2.5 years into it, and Wayne Phillips has been phenomenal in helping me get it all like off the ground. And so the plan was to be in South Africa in June this year, so I would have had lots of cold beers with you guys. But as you know, so things are different now, so maybe that will be moved to a bit later or next year. And then I am like after I retired, I got quite involved with like athletes representation, which is also quite nice and interesting, and you just meet so many phenomenal people. So I sit on the IOC steering committee, which is also really great. And
I love how you switch into your serious voice, Marsha. Eh?
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Trained. Yes. Yeah, very serious now. Yeah, but then this is what I'm doing, just living life, I guess. And my husband is a hockey coach, so enjoy going to the hockey every weekend and letting my little one get to experience it the way I did, playing amazing on the side of the field. So yeah. It's amazing when she comes home clean.
Yes.
But yeah, but it's fun. I still enjoy it. Like, and I also play, of course. And like I said, like I play, and it's so much fun to just like play with like all the players, where you can just like laugh about certain things and still be competitive at the same time. Kind of like varsity days, but now a bit older, with a bit more pain the next day.
Ken says, show us your new baby bump.
Oh yes, and I'm pregnant, so I have a baby bump.
Congratulations, Marsha.
Thanks.
Sweet, man.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. So got knocked up by my husband.
Well, that's a good person to be knocked up by.
Yeah. Thanks.
Well, I must say, it's been an absolute pleasure to see you again, and so great to chat. You're looking so amazing as always. So thanks for the chat, and yeah, we're really looking forward to seeing you. You must give us a shout when you're next in South Africa, particularly in Durban. And I think we should all have a massive fines meeting. Yeah, and absolutely. Where were you at our reunion a year ago? I know, I missed that. I was so bleak. I think I was traveling at the time, but I know that Joe told me about it. He said it was really fun. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, we have to do it again. I think we have to have like a flat out reunion, like maybe an SAU with Loot and have like an old school. I'm in. Perfect. I'll get Jerome to drive the bus. Yeah, exactly. And dye his hair. Yes. Like he traditionally should. Yes, exactly. All right, Marsha. Yeah, well, thank you so much. Thanks so much, Ron. It's been a pleasure chatting and reminiscing about some of the old days. Brilliant, Marsha. Yeah, thanks. It's been fun. Who you got next? Jen Wilson? Ooh, who do you think it should be? I've got some ideas. Yeah, I think Jen Wilson definitely should be on the top. Okay, line her up. We'll get her on, definitely. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks, Marsha. Okay, thanks, Ron. Cheers. Bye. All right, so amazing to hear from Marsha, and thanks to you guys all for tuning in. Keep the love flowing. Keep sending in your suggestions. There's so many people to cover. We only started this thing last Wednesday, and since then I've had tons of good feedback. There's so many amazing hockey people to chat to. So hit the like button, share, send us your comments. And my nephew Luke in Cape Town says I have to say thanks for watching at the end. So there you go, Luki. All right. Thanks again, and thanks to all the ladies and gents who gave their input for this interview. Obviously, it just makes it so much more insightful and fun to have those insights. So when you see the little story pop up, send through your best stories. Give us the dirt. But really great to chat to Marsha, and we'll see you all soon. Keep an eye on the Instagram stories to see who we line up next. Adios, folks. Stay safe, and we'll catch you soon.